Well, hi guys, it's me, Alex, your instructor from Dispatch Training Center, your sassy dispatcher, and of course, person who tries to change trucking for the better. Well, today is Casual Monday. We were not prepared to do any lives. It's just because today is the end of the July. So let's see what's going on. Please, if any of you watching, let me know if you can hear me well, if you can see me, and let's talk what going on with the spot market. Well, the spot market capacity is still continues to loosen. What does it mean? Well, oh, thank you so much, Neil, because I usually don't do live from YouTube platforms, so I'm not sure if it's really properly working. Usually I go from StreamYard and I'm kind of comfortable with that. So let's talk about finishing the July. Today is the last day of July, and we are going to the last months of summer, August, and then September. Many of you were hoping that market's gonna come up a little bit, right? You were all thinking that finally rates gonna improve, but it did not happen. While the rates went down another 17%. Unfortunately, I cannot really share my screen on the YouTube, so I'm gonna just be talking today. And if you guys have any questions, if you have questions about dispatch and if you have questions about safety and compliance, please ask me because I can see all the comments and I will try to answer to your request and hopefully I can help you. So let's look at the trend lines and how we are finishing July. Remember, the number is gonna change probably in 2-3 days. After that, that power is going to get all the data from brokers, from shippers. So usually the last day of the month is not really showing the real numbers. But we can say that in July, dry vans were averaging $2.07, which is few cents less than June. And I do believe it's kind of closer probably to $2.95. If you guys really counting loaded and empty miles, you were not really averaging this. And again, let's back up right here. We're not talking about short runs. We're not talking about local runs. We are taking in consideration loads between 600 to 1200 miles, okay? Because some of you going to say, well, I'm still averaging $3. Well, yes, if you are taking load for 200 miles, 300 miles, you should be averaging 350, 360. So we are talking about longer haul. So dry vans are at 207. And when that is giving you that number, it does not include your empty miles. That's why I usually take another 10, 15 cents down, and that's a reality. $1.95, that's what national average nowadays for dry van. Well, everybody was hoping for flatbeds and step decks, right? A lot of Amazon carriers decided to quit Amazon because some of them lost their accounts. Some of them did not want to run for $1.80, and they all went and start getting into flatbed step decks. But here, what happens? Most of the dispatcher who were handling Amazon accounts, they don't really have a clue how to use load boards or how to negotiate, but because we got overcapacity of flatbeds and step decks, rates went down. And actually, we are averaging 250 per mile, which is very, very low for flatbed and step decks at this time of the year because summer, this is a primary season for flatbed step decks. Why? Because we have construction going on, right? Most of the states, the ones which affected by winter, they are fixing their routes right now, right? All the new subdivisions, they building them primary probably starting in April and they go to October. So this is a prime season and it's very unusual. I see so many disappointed drivers who were telling me, "What's going on? I always made all my money in summer because I have flatbed, I have step deck, I have a low boy, but this is unusual year, so everybody is suffering." Well, let's go to reefers. Well, summer is also the produce season, right? We started this year, we did not really have the rates from California. Our cherries did not really pay that much. Did you guys really seen the crazy prices for the cherries from Washington? Not really, not this year. So reefers are affected as well, and we are averaging in July around 243 on national average rates. One more time, if you're talking about shorter loads, you're probably still averaging 280, 290. If you lucky one and you'd maybe do multi-pick, multi-drops, those nonsense loads, maybe you pushing that $3, but nobody does more than that. You can sit here and tell me otherwise, but unless I have a proof, unless I see those real rate confirmation, not the ones you go to Adobe and start increase in price or decrease in price, I am not gonna believe that data. Show me a week that you still running at $3 per mile, $4 per mile. Show me the real rate confirmation, and I will ask you to teach me how to dispatch with those rates. Honestly, I will stop teaching classes. Okay, so there it is. If you can show me the last month of July with the rates more than $3, all miles, empty and loaded for any type of equipment, and when we are talking not about short loads, well, then you are my hero. I would like to take classes from you. Let's see. Uh, what questions we have? Well, I am from Uzbekistan and carrier companies are paying 0.75% from the gross to dispatchers. What do you think about it? Well, you are in Uzbekistan. The cost of living in Uzbekistan is not the same as living in USA. So I don't know if you are averaging what 7,000 per truck, 6,000 per truck. So what are you getting per week? Let's say you are dispatching. Let's go to the numbers. If you know what you're doing, well, at least you are dispatching 6 trucks, right? So 6 trucks multiply, let's say, by 6,500. You have 39,000 per week. Multiply by 0.75%. Well, you're making $292. Multiply by 4. Well, it's 1,170 whooping dollars for Uzbekistan. I don't know what is the national salary right now in Uzbekistan, but I don't think this is $1,100-$1,200 a month. So what I'm thinking, well, that's why we call this outsourcing, right? Why people outsource? Because they can find the cheaper labor somewhere else. Uzbekistan, Moldova, Turkmenistan, Pakistan, Indian. That's how they can afford, right? Remember my phone calls? Well, we have 125 dispatchers, and each of them are dispatching 1 or 2 trucks. In America, we cannot afford that. We have a minimum wage, we have our bills. Nobody's gonna be working for $300 a week. It's simply impossible. So what I think you're lucky to have a job in this economical situation. If you become better and maybe you can provide safety and compliance, so you can renegotiate. So it depends, everybody's lifestyle is different, and you can charge what do you think you worth. So, cannot really give any advice, but this is my honest opinion. Hello, Alex. Glad I finally caught you live. Hi, Aaron. Uh, do you think it's better to move to car hauling right now? Well, guys, it doesn't matter what you dispatch. Let's be honest, stop jumping from one equipment to another. You'd better become really good with one type of equipment and really do a good job, right? I'm not gonna use a bad word right now, but stop Stop making those decisions, switching your mind. The same as the drivers. Oh my god, market went down for step decks, maybe I'm gonna get the reefer. Oh my god, reefer went up, I'm gonna go for reefers. Oh, reefer went down, I'm gonna go to driving. Stick to one equipment, learn the markets, do your best. Stop switching every other week. It's like in any profession. Get good, get better, and sometimes, yeah, you can add extra services, jumping from car haulers to box trucks without knowledge, from box trucks to flatbeds, from flatbeds to low boys, from low boys to hazmat trucking. Well, you need to have a knowledge, right? Every equipment has a different market. Every loads depends on commodities, on what has to be done, has a different type of negotiations. Unless you are God, then you can dispatch anything and you can switch to anything, right? But my suggestion for you to get better with one type of equipment and find the carriers who really stick to that equipment, because you're gonna know your shippers, you're gonna know your receivers, you're gonna start even know the people. Because if you dispatch 6 7 trucks, let's say, and they all dry vans and they are all on Midwest, what's gonna happen? You're gonna start remembering even the names. You're gonna call those girls to reschedule appointments in Walmart for dry goods. You're gonna know that Mary is working Wednesday afternoon and she's a good girl, she will switch appointment. You're gonna know that maybe Mark is working on Tuesday and he's not that easy to talk to. You're gonna start knowing if there's a parking or not parking, what kind of facility it is, if they really need appointment. I suggest you to learn one part, one market, and become really good. But again, this is my personal opinion. And again, guys, this is casual Monday today. It was not pre planned. You know what? I got back from my hair appointment and I decided, well, I have some time before I have to go play tennis. And I decide to talk to you guys. So let's see what else is going on. Uh okay, let's skip all those comments about my t-shirt and everything else. Let's actually talk about trucking, boys, right? Let's talk how to improve your dispatch, your safety, your compliance. So let's compare it to what is our fuel prices. Well, our fuel prices actually went a little bit up. They're 2.5% up compared to the previous week. So we are actually averaging $3.90. As a dispatcher, you need to know your operational cost. Remember, you have fixed cost, you have variable cost. So fuel, it's something which is going to be variable, right? You need to know MPG of your truck, right? MPG, how many miles per gallon this truck uses, right? Because this is gonna also affect how much money you're spending on a diesel, right? You also have to pay attention how heavy you load. You need to pay attention to terrain. If you take the same load with 15,000 on a weight and you go through mountains, let's say you decided that it's a great idea to go somewhere from Cincinnati to Virginia and you take in 64. Lots of mountains, right? Not that easy. Most of the drivers will tell you, well, I'm not going to take this load, cancel. But let's say drivers don't really know as well, dispatcher is new, and you guys take that load. So difference in weight is also going to affect how much money you're spending for your fuel. That weight is also going to affect your tires, your brakes, right? So pay attention. That's why most owner operators, I love them all. Sometimes they're so stubborn and they tell you, do not book the load heavier than 25,000. I am refusing to take any other loads. And that works when market is high. That works when the capacity is low for the trucks, but the freight volumes is high, because then we are dictating supply and demand. But in this market, unfortunately, as much as I try to find the lighter loads for my drivers, a lot of times we still have to take those heavy loads, because nowadays shippers, receivers, they try to push as much as possible of that product on that poor truck. So remember, distribution of the weight, knowing your empty scale ticket, right? Knowing how much your driver exactly can scale for this type of truck trailer, right? So asking, is that gonna be including pallets? Is that palletized? Is that gross weight? Is that net? Is that gonna be extra? And remember, do not take a chance to go overweight. You do not want to get those tickets because you're affecting safety of your MC. You're getting tickets. That goes also on your PSP, right? And believe it or not, it will affect your insurance. The safety will affect insurance. So let's keep that old school. I'm gonna be driving during the night. I'm gonna pass around weight station. Well, make sure your dispatchers ask for the weight, but a lot of times brokers are not telling the truth. Again, whose responsibility it is to know if you're overweight or you're not overweight? Driver, driver, and driver. And you guys, drivers, can just shoot me over the camera right now, but it is your responsibility. You know me, I'm not gonna sweet talk, but you as a driver, you're right there. You know how much they put, you have the BOL. It is your responsibility to not keep driving when you are overweight. And don't tell me that story that you got loaded, right? Because first, in my company or whoever I dispatch, nobody's moving until we know we're not overweight. But then I hear the story from carriers, oh, help me with a safety, help me with a ticket. And like, okay, he's overweight, like 2,000-3,000. He picked up load somewhere, let's say New Jersey, and he's going, let's say, somewhere to, I don't know, Oklahoma, and you got tickets passing somewhere in Indiana. Don't give me that, BS. Well, the broker did not answer the phone, so we will keep going. Well, the broker doesn't care. Broker does not have safety score, right? Broker is not the one who is gonna pay the ticket. Broker is not the one who is gonna get stopped by the DOT officer. Broker is not the one who is gonna get into accident. So it's you, and you. So this is a driver and dispatcher responsibility. Okay, I hope I'm clear on that. What else we have? What effect will yellow going background have for dispatchers? Well, what effect? Well, your carrier's probably not going to get paid. So if they had factoring, let's say with RTS will take money back, right? Because if somebody goes bankrupt, any factoring, they will take their money back. How is it going to affect you? Well, probably maybe your carriers is going to say that they will withdraw your dispatching fee as well. Usually they don't really do that, because if you book the load while they were approved by your factory and you did your job. If you did book the load after they already were in D, or you already knew that they are going through the hard time, then yes, I mean, you have to kind of give the share of your percentage, right, back. This is called honest business. Dear dispatchers, pay attention. You need to belong to different resources. You need to ask your factory and company to send you no buy list. You need to monitor every time. Doesn't matter, even if you work for this guy for the last 2 years, check if their rating goes down. Because if they had A, suddenly they go to B, months later they already at C, the smart dispatcher is gonna stop taking loads from that broker for a while to see what's going on. Remember, not only carriers go through hard time, brokers go through hard time. Companies who are carriers and brokers go through the hard time. So we see the bankruptcies on all sides, right? So that's what's going on. What else? Also, the search transportation, 12 million, they're gonna go bankrupt. Well, I feel bad for carriers. Well, this is the reality of any business. Somebody goes bankrupt, people lose their money. This is the part of this. Alex, I am in love with you. Okay, thank you. Let me skip. I thought that it has to be something with trucking. Okay. My accent is sexy. Thank you. A lot of people complain about my broken English, but I think you can understand me. And my English is not broken. It's kind of a nice Ukrainian accent, and I love it. Okay. Okay, guys, can we talk actually about trucking? I'm not gonna answer all this comments which have nothing to do with trucking. So let's go back. Let's compare. Let's compare our drive-in, right? So let's see. Let's go talk about spot market for drive-in right now. Okay. Let's look and let's see. Wow, so East Coast is averaging $1.80 per mile. And when I talk about East Coast, I'm talking about Northeast. So we're talking about Maine, Vermont, New Jersey, New York, Connecticut, upstate New York City, Island, Pennsylvania, Delaware, So that's what I'm talking about. So $1.80 for drive-in. Well, $1.80 if you still kind of stay on that northeast. When you try to get out now from, let's say, New Jersey, go back to Midwest, well, they are giving you $10, $15, even dollar, which is insane. So it's like going back to, I don't know, 2010, 2011, but then fuel was not almost $4, right? Trucks did not cost 200,000. Drivers, I remember, oh my God, my drivers in 2013 when I opened the company, we were paying drivers 40 cents per mile. If you were a good driver, you were getting 42. The super drivers who were responsible were getting 45 cents per mile, right? And the trucks which we were buying, well, we were still buying them for what? 87,000 brand new, 92,000, right? So, and drive-ins, remember drive-in used to cost, oh my God, 32,000 brand new drive-in. Reefers were probably around 48, 46. So how can you compare? Insurance, I remember when I got the quote, when I got to the truck and I was like, what's going on? This is so expensive. When I got a quote that each driver is gonna cost me $7,200 a year, and I was like, oh my God, how I'm gonna survive in this truck? In $7,200 a year per driver, and now what are you guys paying, right? Well, still with being in business for a long time, we are still averaging from 12 to 14,000 per driver, just because we've been in the business for a long time, no accidents, knock on the wood, right? But most of you who come with the new MCs, well, your coverage, because me as insurance agent, I see this all the time. The lowest you can get with a good MVRs and everything else, maybe 17,000, and then it goes up. So averages about from 20 to 25,000 per truck. But the trucks nowadays, how much the brand new Freightliner cost? Oh, brand new Volvo, what are we talking about? 196? 2010, it depends what you put in on them, right? So that's a lot and a lot of money. Okay, so on Midwest, if we are talking about staying on Midwest with the dry winds, you are averaging around 220. If we are gonna go to mountains and West Coast, we are averaging $2. We're gonna go southwest. When we talk about southwest, we talk about Texas, we talk about Louisiana, Mississippi. Well, we averaging 206, and then we're gonna go to southeast. Florida is dead as always. What else is new? Well, Florida been dead forever. Florida has a market for a few weeks when the produce starts with watermelons. It comes up and everybody thinks, oh my God, we're gonna make all that money. Then a few times a year, maybe with the nursery loads, maybe with some flowers, and maybe some unusual emergency loads when we have hurricanes or some unusual weather conditions, right? So then we get paid to go to Florida and maybe we make some money. Otherwise, do not go to Florida. And this is the biggest problem. If you're a company who hires drivers from Florida, well, you guys paying per mile, whatever you paying, but then you have to bring them home. Nobody really pays to Florida. Nobody pays out of Florida. So after a while, unfortunately, I stopped hiring drivers from Florida because this was like a running charity business. I am paying the drivers, I am paying insurance, I am paying for my trucks, I'm paying for my trailers, I'm paying the dispatchers and everybody else, factoring, load boards, but I am not making any money. So my personal decisions, do not hire any more drivers from Florida or the areas which really hard to get out. Am I discriminating anybody? No, not really. I am running the business, and business should be profitable, hopefully, right? Otherwise, it's a charity or non-profit organizations. But so far, I don't think that putting so much money into this, be having so much stress, I can afford to be a charity business, right? Okay, let's see what else. I'm going to be a dispatcher and go live in poor countries so I can live like a rich man. Yeah, you can do that. That's a lot of countries which you can still dispatch and you can make decent money even though you're going to be paid outsourcing fee, but for those countries it's going to be more than enough and you will be the king. Actually, I'm thinking myself, maybe in few years, maybe 5 years, I'm going to sell everything I have in the USA and move somewhere where I can enjoy the life because I'm getting tired of working a lot, right? I am a workaholic. Although I enjoy teaching classes, I enjoy running businesses, but I guess I'm getting too old. It's time to enjoy the life pretty soon. So I'll give myself 5 more years. 5 more years, and I am retired. And then I'm going to start writing the books about my trucking story or about me being an immigrant from Ukraine or about my crazy life events, right? So I can still be occupied with writing the books. But I would be living probably with a nice waterfront, with a nice margarita, right? And don't worry about bills in the USA. Well, let's see. Which platform do you prefer using for teamwork scheduling, like Trello, Team Up, etc? Well, because we're dealing with a lot of people from post-Soviet Union and everything else. Well, most of the dispatchers, most of the drivers, they still love all those Telegram and Vibers and everything else. So we kind of have to please their request. While I am in Florida, Central Florida, what about the new dispatch rules? Well, the new dispatch rules did not go yet in effect, and if you really read it, as long as you do not act as a broker, right? As long as you do not pretend that you go the shippers and receivers while you providing the service. So please read the language in that new rule, okay? So let's educate ourselves, and this comes big misrepresentation because dispatcher thinks if I'm going to be dispatching, I can go directly to shippers, receivers, I can ask them for loads. Well, you cannot. You actually cannot do legally. If you want to do that, you need to apply for MC, get your BOC3 form on file, get your surety bond, and go ahead. Then you're going to be a freight broker, right? And all of this comes because a lot of dispatchers misrepresent what they gonna do, their duties, their responsibilities. So let's remember, dispatcher is working on behalf of carrier, actually negotiating on their behalf, representing, using exactly their information, right? So that's what it is. Okay. Uh, can you please advise why that power trial is not working? I'll apply for it, but active confirmation email never comes up. Well, again, do you have MC? If I do you have MC and you applied as a motor carrier, then you should call them and ask. if you are independent dispatcher, you cannot do it by the link. You have to make sure you call them. They're going to verify. You need to have some kind of business structure, right? You need to make sure that you have corporation, LLC, partnership in the USA. They will verify information and they will actually activate for you if they not gonna feel like some scams going on there. So call them and exactly ask them. How or where do we check the broker's credit? Well, most of the load boards have the credit score of the broker. Okay, let me pause the truck. Let's say, so I can just give you an example, right? Let's pause the truck. Right now, Tracy, California. Oh my God, but probably we're going to receive the phone calls. Okay, let's see. Maybe it's going to be fun. 855-566-6377. Remember, I'm just posting the truck so I can see some credit scores. Well, we have the column in that. We have also column in truck stop. So both of those load boards have the credit score for the broker, right? Let's say, how does it go? It goes by the numbers. In that, it goes from 100 and below. You don't want to book anything below 90. So if you see credit score 97, 95, well, this is indication of good pay in DTP, day to pay, right? So if it's 100 score, probably they pay within 15 days. From probably 97 to 100 within 15 days after you submit paperwork. If it is from 90 to 95, probably takes them from 30 to 45 days. It's below 90. Well, it's more than 45 days. You don't really want to deal with it right now. But if your carrier has factoring, then that score kind of irrelevant. You have to log in to your carrier factoring app and check every broker there. So let's see, for example, let me log in. And guys, I wish I would do this by StreamYard. I should have probably just scheduled by StreamYard so I can share my, can I share it on YouTube the screen? Well, probably not. I'm not going to look through this right now. Well, let's see if let's check. For example, let's find some brokerage with a lower score. Let's try to find somebody with 87. Okay, let's see, 80 or 87. Okay, 85. Okay, some Treadstone brokerage. Okay, MC 118. Okay, so they are 87 on the debt, right? They're 87 on a debt. So I could say, well, they're not that bad. But if I do have RTS, I need to make sure I check there. So let's do it. 111-8610. Okay. Credit. 111-1680, right? I'm bad with memorizing those numbers. Yeah, hold on. 111-8610. Okay. Okay, let's find them. So they are 87 on the debt, which would kind of give me already kind of okay, a little bit too low. I go to RTS and they're at C. So still, it's not A, it's not B. I still can talk to them. But me personally, I like to work with the brokers who are A and B. Let's find somebody else. Let's find somebody with a credit score of Cargomatic. Okay, 54. 54 and their MC. You know what? Let me just put it right here so I can see it. Okay, their MC is 838. Let's go back and let's check this guy. So very low on debt. So let's see if I go to my factoring, can I still work with you? 838. 397. Okay. Wow. And look at the surprise. So that gives them 54. And RTS gives them A. If I look how many invoices they had with RTS, they had 1,020 invoices and average pay is 31. So do you see sometimes information can be different? I would never book if I would just look at the debt, but RTS says, listen, they are A. So if my factoring says they are A, well, then I can go and book it. And why sometimes it's so different? Well, maybe some carriers had a complaint with a debt, and maybe that company really did not pay maybe to OTR factoring or directly to the carrier. But with RTS, they have been paying. So with RTS, they are good. So as a dispatcher, this is your responsibility. This is your first step. Remember, when you guys watching me and we post the trucks, I always ask them, well, what is your MC, right? What is your MC? Because I need to make sure that this broker is approved by factoring for this carrier. So let's say you dispatch 5 carriers. You might have 2 which have RTS. You might have 1 which has Love Solution. You might have 1 which has OTR. Or you might have a guy who does not want to have factoring and he wants you to depend on these scores. So for the guy who does not have any factoring, then I'd better stick for everybody who at least has a higher score on the debt on truck stop. Truck stop gives you a different rating. It gives you A, B, and C, right? So you can verify. Usually you can check. Well, if that gives them 97 and you go to truck stop and you put their MC there and truck stop load board maybe gives them B, well, kind of the same information, right? You go to RTS, even this guy does not have a factoring, but you check in RTS, well, RTS still work with him. You can log into other carrier and check him on loves because you need to see, well, if from 4 sources, all 4 says that they okay, maybe you should work. But if you check on 4 sources and 3 of them were like, no, 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 well, don't take that chance, right? So that's what it is. Can you believe the load board score? So I kind of answer that. See, it can go both ways. So you have to go by the factoring for the carrying. Okay. Share your screen. I cannot share my screen because this time I am not doing, I don't know, what is this? No, that's dashboard because I am not doing it for the StreamYard. Usually I always do my videos from StreamYard and I can share the screen, I can move around, I can have guests. I guess I just decided to go for a little bit, but it's already, oh my God, we've been talking for 37 minutes. Time goes back. Guys, again, can we stop with this nonsense questions, please? What do you do when broker doesn't pay? Have you ever been ripped off? Well, luckily we did not have a problem with that, but one time I had to drive to the broker's facility and I mean the office, and luckily they were here in Chicagoland, and with a lot of 2-3 visits, finally the owner of the company wrote the check and we got paid, and we never ever work with them again. Okay. What else? What else can we talk about? Well, somebody's calling us right now. Let's see what's going on in Yakima. What's going on in Yakima for reefers? So, what was the highest paying load today? Well, for reefers was going to Florida, 7,000. Florida, Florida, Florida. Well, let's see other questions. Let's see other questions. I guess no other questions about trucking. So I guess we're gonna be done. We're just gonna look one more time on other equipment. We talked about dry vans, right? So let's switch to national rates. Let's look at the flatbed. Let's look at demand and capacity. So flatbed. Okay. which loads, okay, which areas are paying? Oklahoma, what is this? Mississippi, Oregon. Oregon is not really paying. Okay. Let's go back here. Load to truck ratio is 6 to 8. Okay, kind of low. Okay. So let's look at the map. Which area pays the most for flatbeds and step decks, right? I mean step deck. Okay, national flatbed rates. Okay, let's see. Let's see if the Midwest is still the winning combination. Well, yes, Midwest is still paying 266 to 70. After Midwest, we're gonna go to Texas, and we're gonna go to like Tennessee, Kentucky, maybe North Carolina, but closer to Virginia one. And East Coast is paying 240, and West Coast and mountains are not really paying for flatbed step decks. It's paying 229 average, right? Let's go to reefers. Okay, national reefer rates. Which area is paying the most? Well, still Midwest and West Coast, parts of West Coast, like Tracy, Spain, Los Angeles, paying less. So around Sacramento area, Fresno, California, so northern part of California. Okay. Can you show us how to fill out broker carrier agreement? We have the full video in our list, so please find it. We did it with a TQL and somebody else, so we already have that video. Maybe we will make a new one. Nowadays it goes by the link, so you click on the link and you verify the information. We have 3 major third-party solutions: RMIS, my carrier setup, onboarding. So usually brokers do use them as a third party because I don't want to deal anymore with the PDFs. I don't want to deal with emailing all those carrier setups. So everything is verified. That's why they pay money, because they want to make sure your insurance is verified, your safety is verified, and it just click, 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 click. So to exchange the paperwork, if my students in my class first were stressed out that they have to be a software engineers, no, you do not have to be a software engineer. You actually can do it within 30 seconds, maybe a minute. In the class, it takes us 2 minutes because I explain whatever we answering. Any small tips when learning to dispatch? Any ideas if you are unable to find loads in your area? Well, any tips? You need to pre-book and you need to make phone calls. If you don't know the area, well, make the phone call. Let's say you have truck, you try to go to Memphis and it's, let's say, drive-in, and you're like, well, let me make few phone calls. If I take him to Oklahoma, how much they pay? Well, he's going to be in Oklahoma next day. What will I do in Oklahoma? Post the truck in Oklahoma City, make few phone calls and see what you're going to average. Make sure you know hours of service. So all the experience comes with the phone calls, knowing the commodities. Without phone calls and without learning the lanes, without learning the shippers, receivers, without comparing exactly for today, you cannot dispatch. Because if you were watching my channel probably 2 years ago, well, it's totally different prices, it's totally different negotiations. You see us right now, well, now we're kissing every broker's butt, right? Because it's no loads. So this is different. You still have to do what you have to do, but you kind of at mercy at brokers and nothing you can change. So pre-booking, eliminating that head, making phone calls and learning your circles, knowing your driver, knowing he has to be home, knowing the dead area. Do not go to that area because miracles are not going to happen, especially in this market, right? So that's how you can become better dispatcher. Have you ever drove a truck yourself? No, guys, I did not. I am gonna find some cool female and I'm gonna go on a road trip and we're gonna take the videos. I really want to go because, I've been in this business for a long time. I teach, but I never had a luxury, or I just did not have time to go and actually see the country from truck point view, let's say this way. So maybe I'll go through the list of my students who are also truck drivers, and maybe I can do that. Or maybe I can connect. Maybe I can start with one girl, drive for a few days, and then meet somebody else. I think it would be cool. And we can make all the live videos and talk about trucking, right? Maybe I should do that. It would be fun. So if you guys know me personally, if you're my previous student, make sure tell me. If you don't have problem with me, I'll go with you for 2-3 days, and then I can switch to somebody else, and maybe this is gonna be something new, the reality of trucking, being on a road, right? Seeing the trucking as a dispatcher in the truck, going and talking to those shipper and receiving offices, right? It would be a lots and a lots of things. So maybe that's a good idea. Okay. um how much money does your company make? How many trucks and dispatchers do you have? Well, you're not an IRS, so we're not going to talk about how much my company makes. We make a lot. And plus, remember, I do not do just trucking. I'm also in real estate, in insurance. I teach classes, so I do a lot of different businesses. But are we suffering right now? Yes, everybody's suffering. So now is a survival mode, right? So now is a time where you need to survive. You don't have to quit. Who quits? Losers do, or people who did not have knowledge, right? Trucking has all these ups and downs all the time. That's why you need to make sure you have those maintenance account, right? When you were making big money 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, did you put money aside for maintenance account to preventive maintenance, right? Did you kind of oversee what you can cut right now? You had a huge offices, fancy offices, maybe it's time to let your dispatchers work from home. I actually do believe dispatchers work better from home than in the office, because they don't have to wake up that early. They don't have to be stuck in the traffic. And in the comfort of their home, they actually more productive. So there's another thing for companies who think that they need to cut on their expenses. I do think that pro dispatcher would never ever drive to somebody's office. Never, because we can do this job in the comfort of our own home. I don't like to wake up 6 in the morning. I don't even like to wake up 7 in the morning. I woke up at 8 and I'm okay with that. And I can still run the businesses, right? No, I am not a billionaire. If I would be a billionaire, I would be already living somewhere on the islands. But I did make a bunch of millions over the my being in the USA. Yes, I can tell you this. Uh okay, then I like working at office because I can talk to beautiful Russian women. Well, that's good. First of all, I'm not Russian, I'm Ukrainian, but yeah, you can talk to beautiful women. People like to go to office. Sometimes working from home can be challenging, but again, everybody has different lifestyle. They have, maybe you don't have enough room in your house to have separate office. Me, I work a lot from home because I like to play golf, I like to do tennis classes, so it's easier for me, right? I can just jump and do this live right now, right? Because everything's set up at home, and I do have a luxury of having nice big separate office for me, so nobody bothers me. So I love it. But I do miss go to the offices all the time. But still, I go to my insurance office, right, twice a week, so I can still wear my heels and my dresses and go for lunches. Then I go for my real estate stuff. So I still get out from the house. For some people who work 24/7 from home, it is challenging. So maybe sometimes you need to get out and work out of your home, because it's not that easy. Looking forward to taking your dispatch class in 2024. Thank you for all your channel and info you provide. You are welcome. Uh, what else I have? We have a lot of desperate drivers today because our questions are kind of not on the topic. So will market change in August? I don't think so. I think we're still going down a little bit, and probably we gonna see rates probably another 10-12% down. So make sure you guys understand this. Tomorrow is August 1st. If you own the semi truck, if you have any equipment heavier than 26,000, do not forget to pay your 2290, right? So we have the whole month to pay 2290. If your company charges for this, make sure that they give you a receipt that exactly your win number was paid with the IRS. So that's what we have in August 2290. If you don't have money and you broke and you're not gonna pay, well, it's gonna affect your registration for the plates, right? So make sure that you guys pay on time. Don't be late. You don't want to play the games with the IRS. But again, if you use a third-party services, if your company charges you, make sure that they give you the proof that it was e-file. Make sure that you see your win number. I see it happen all the time. Drivers come and work for us and we need to renew the plates. We're adding them to our registration. Well, can I have a copy of your 2290? The poor guy tells me, well, the company charged me in August 550 plus another $50 or $100 for filing. And guys, first, it's kind of free with IRS. They just charge a little fee if you pay with credit card. So nobody's paying $50 or $100 for that unless you use it as a third-party providers. And then they call the company and the company cannot provide them that e-file, and the poor people have to pay again. Lots of dishonesty in trucking business, unfortunately, right? Trucking needs to improve on all levels. What else is gonna happen soon? Well, we just finished filing our IFTA. Today is the last day for second quarter, right? If you were filing IFTA, remember, if you have open accounts in Connecticut, Kentucky, New York, New Mexico, and Oregon, do not forget to file even zeros, because even if you did not drive to Connecticut or Kentucky, you still have to file zeros. A lot of companies for New York are moved for annual filing. If you don't really drive that much through New York State, actually they moved you to annual filing. So what does it mean? Bunch of you did file the IFTA for the first quarter in April in New York. Now you try to log in and it tells you, well, your company was moved for annual filing. So make sure that you still keep all the proof of the road trips, your ELDs, you know your miles, and when you're gonna file in January of 2024, and you're just gonna do it once a year from now on. For companies who drive a lot through New York, they still have to pay it quarterly, right? In the end of the year, we will need to apply for the new hot stickers, right? Because hot stickers come every 2 years. We just had a series 24, so we are looking for series 25, and it's gonna cover 2024 and 2025. Make sure the sticker is only $1.50. Make sure you start ordering them probably in the mid of November